And welcome to Dollars and Cents. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. Thanks so much for joining us. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to show you some easy ways to cut your costs and save some big time cash. We've been gathering the best consumer reporting from Fox stations across the country, all to help you make some really smart money moves. Today, more student loan forgiveness is coming. Are you one of them? Or are you a borrower that's caught in the chaos of resuming payments? We're going to show you how to cut through the clutter and actually reach your student loan servicer. 'Tis the season for planning your holiday trip. Artificial intelligence can help you save time and money. I'm going to show you how to put it to work for you. Everyone is looking to save money on prescriptions. You may be able to actually save a fortune by not using your insurance. And this is the time of year students start applying for colleges. There are some secrets to saying goodbye to application fees and ways to tame your tuition. We start with both good news and bad news for student loan borrowers. First, the good news. $9 billion more in federal student loans are being forgiven. But we're also hearing about some chaos for the people who aren't so lucky and can't reach their student loan servicers to repay their loans. So we have some information to help you with both of these situations. First, President Biden has announced another $9 billion in student loan forgiveness for 125,000 borrowers. And what is happening here is they are correcting administrative errors. So the White House says this includes borrowers who have already met requirements in the public service loan forgiveness plans, income-driven repayment plans, or have a total or permanent disability.
My administration will continue to use every tool at our disposal to help ease the burden of student debt so more Americans can be free to achieve their dreams.
Meanwhile, many borrowers say they are really having trouble reaching their loan servicers now that payments have resumed after the big 3-year pause. So 19 attorneys general wrote to the Department of Education saying borrowers are complaining of long wait times, calling their loan servicers, dropped calls, and not getting the information they need. The AGs are urging the DOE to instruct loan servicers to place affected borrowers in non-interest-bearing forbearances that count toward potential debt forgiveness until their issues are resolved. So because so many loan servicers left the business during the payment pause, the AGs note that millions of borrowers now have servicers that are new to their accounts, and some of them are pretty seriously understaffed. So if you're having trouble calling your loan servicer, it's actually best to communicate in writing. So you can get contact information through studentaid.gov, and you can even submit a request for an income-driven repayment plan online. You can also try contacting them through the loan servicer's website. And if you can't reach them right away, try to make your existing payment so that you don't fall behind. And if you really just can't afford to make a payment, President Biden has created a 12-month on-ramp to repayment where borrowers won't be penalized for missing payments and it won't be reported to credit bureaus. And now that student loan payments have resumed, of course, so have all the scammers. They are all looking to steal your money and your financial information. So Fox's Meredith Aldis has some great advice on how to protect yourself from the student loan scams.
Student loan payments were halted in 2020, initially due to COVID. And that means that those that graduated within the last few years may have to navigate these payments for the first time.
This fall, it's back to school, or for some, just back to paying for school. Federal student loan payments are set to resume October 1st, after being on pause since 2020. And student loan interest already started accruing again earlier this month. At the same time, the new federal student loan forgiveness program known as SAVE is accepting applications.
And that is exactly the kind of thing that scammers look for, is if it's in the news, then it's going to be more likely that you will click a link or respond to a phone call or something like that.
Often the same technique, just different targets.
This is just a version of the old-fashioned advance fee fraud, which goes all the way back to the early days of the internet, the Nigerian prince fraud emails.
Essentially promising to provide you a service for a fee. In this case, wiping or decreasing your debt.
That's one of the big red flags that we always tell people is always be wary when the company reaches out to you directly promising to cancel your debt, because most student loan servicers, like the official ones like Sallie Mae, companies like that, they're not going to have a program like that in place.
Especially if there is a sense of urgency or pressure. Keep in mind, official emails from the federal government regarding student loans will only come from these addresses, and texts will only come from these two numbers. The Department of Education and any of its partners will never ask for a password for your official student aid account, known as your FSA ID. And when in doubt, contact your federal loan servicer first.
So you can actually go to the federal student aid website and log into your dashboard, find out who your loan servicer is, find out if it seems legitimate.
Keep in mind, if you think that you may qualify for the federal student debt relief plan, we'll put a link to the application on our website. Back to you in the studio.
All right, some great advice there. Well, can you believe that the holiday season is already fast approaching? I can't believe it. But there is some good help out there for all of you Santa's helpers and anyone who's sending gifts. UPS and FedEx say they will not raise shipping fees for the holidays and will actually trim some of their costs instead. This comes as the shipping numbers are lower, all thanks to inflation. Ship Matrix says that consumers plan to buy more gifts that don't need to be shipped. The U.S. Postal Service also announced that it will not charge extra fees for holiday shipping. A little relief there. And here's a holiday money saver, and it really has people talking. British mom Tawny Beck is hosting 7 people for Christmas dinner this year, and she says she's already started making all the food as of September 16th. And what she's doing is she's stashing it all in the freezer. Tawny says she loves the holidays, but not the stress. So far, she's whipped up meatballs, mince pie filling, cake, 4 kinds of cookies. She says once Christmas comes, she'll have a relaxed morning opening her presents and not stressing over peeling potatoes, because who wants that? Tawny says it also saves her money because supermarket prices tend to spike closer to the holidays. That is a brilliant idea. And while you're planning your holiday travels, I want to show you something that can really help you save a lot of money and time. It makes trip planning really easy. The new boom in artificial intelligence can help you plan a trip in minutes and find ways to cut your costs. So if you're searching out flights and hotels and restaurants and the sights to see, well, you know that can take hours if you do it on your own. AI can search them all out along with those sights to see and places to eat, all within minutes. Wondering what the difference is between a Google search and a search using artificial intelligence? Here's a look. We Googled plan a weekend trip to Galveston. The search engine listed links and articles about Galveston attractions and accommodations. Then we went to Google Labs to use AI. Its search generative experience suggested the Strand, Bishop's Palace, and the Seawall. We asked it to save us money on this trip. It suggested buying a Galveston Island pass, which can save you up to 40% on attractions. Want a low-cost hotel with an ocean view? It showed us options, and it planned this trip in minutes. You can also plan a trip using Google's AI chatbot, Bard.
Let's say you're going to spend the weekend in Vegas. You can use it to create your itinerary from things like restaurants that you want to go to, landmarks that you want to see, and different things like that.
Another feature to try out, Google Lens. Drop in a photo of something like a sandal. It shows you where you can buy it or how to style it. Or take a photo of something in a foreign language like a menu. It translates.
The menu might be in Portuguese, and so I click my phone, open up Google Lens, and it will translate the menu for me.
Other travel apps plan itineraries using AI too, including Roam Around, Vacate, Chatbot, iPlan.ai, and Curiosio. And sites like Hopper and Skyscanner use AI to help find low-priced airfare in hotels. And get this, a site called PackPoint uses AI to generate a list of what you should pack for your trip based on your destination, travel dates, and planned activities. That's my favorite part, the thing that tells you what to pack. I want to try that. Now, you do need to remember that artificial intelligence searches are not always accurate. So you want to double check the recommendations before you make a booking. Now, one of the biggest expenses that people struggle with, of course, are prescription medications. Well, did you know that you might be able to save the most money by not using your insurance? When you use your health insurance at a local pharmacy, you and your insurance are paying a markup on the prescription. But now some online pharmacies say, forget about that. They say you can buy it directly from them, the same drugs, for a fraction of the cost.
Good loving.
Wayne Taylor and his wife are raising their grandson, Jonathan, who has epilepsy. Jonathan's medication costs hundreds of dollars a month.
Then we got him on our private insurance, and that dropped it down into about $525. And then we got him on Scriptco. And it was, last month it was $18 plus $6 shipping. So $24.
The same generic medication from the same manufacturer, $18. And Taylor says he went from paying $60 a month for his own meds.
Mine's for blood pressure and cholesterol, and the $6 shipping is more than the drugs cost me, and that's for 3 months. It cost me about $1 a month.
He pays online subscription pharmacy Scriptco a $140 a year membership fee and saves thousands.
He's been a blessing to us, and I want to be able to help him. I'm sorry, this is...
That's okay. This enables you to help him more because it frees up money for other things.
It does. And that way we can give him the best life that we can.
Scriptco doesn't accept insurance. Co-founder Zach Zeller says they buy generic prescriptions only, directly from wholesalers, then sell them at that same wholesale price to you.
When you operate in the insurance ecosystem, you have this middleman called the pharmacy benefit manager, and they force specific pricing. And in doing that, you're not able to offer medications at cost. So we chose to operate outside of the insurance ecosystem.
You can check the price of your prescriptions on Scriptco.com before signing up.
You look at a drug like Lipitor, right, atorvastatin. It's 54 cents for a 30-day supply with us. Very inexpensive.
Now, there are some other online pharmacies that may help you save too. Genius RX, Honeybee Health, and Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drug Company. And you can check them out. They're all on Sullivan Smart Sense on Fox26Houston.com. And while we're talking about health care, Medicare enrollment is just around the corner. And the most expensive mistake that people make is they don't review their Medicare options each year. They just let it roll over. But plans change and your needs change, and you want to be sure that your plan is covering your current needs and cutting your costs. So whether you are re-enrolling or enrolling for the first time, Fox's medical reporter Beth Galvin does a great job of breaking down how to choose the best Medicare plan for you.
And the first decision you need to make is whether to go with an original Medicare plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. And there are lots of things to consider.
If you're signing up for or switching Medicare coverage, Liz George, the executive director for Aetna's Georgia Gulf States region, says you have a lot of options for 2023.
I encourage everyone to go to www.medicare.gov, put in your zip code, see what's out there.
George says you want to choose the plan that best covers your medical needs, the doctors that you want to see, the medications that you take, and the services you're most likely to need.
Let's say that you go to physical therapy 3 to 4 times a week. It might be important to you to know what that max out of pocket is or what your copays are.
There are 2 types of Medicare plans. The original Medicare includes a Part A plan, which covers your hospital and inpatient care, and a Part B plan that covers your doctor's visits and outpatient care. Original Medicare does not cover your prescription medication. For that, you'll need a Part D plan, which covers prescription costs. You may also opt for buying a supplemental or Medigap plan that will cover gaps in your coverage.
You might want to consider a Medicare supplement and pay a premium monthly. And then when you go for those services, you don't pay out of pocket.
Last year, close to half of all Medicare beneficiaries were in a Medicare Advantage plan. Sold by private insurance companies, they're usually HMO or PPO plans approved by Medicare. A Medicare Advantage plan is a combination of a Part A plan covering hospital and inpatient care and a Part B plan covering doctor's visits and outpatient care. And these plans may also include Part D or prescription drug coverage. It's a lot to sort through, so George says make a list of your top 3 priorities and then go see an independent insurance broker who can help talk you through your options.
you can see that they're checking your doctors, checking the prescriptions. And if it's not the right plan for you, they can change the plan for you because they sell all plans.
And if you go to Medicare.gov, there is a link that will allow you to compare plans side by side and look at your options. For your Fox Medical team, I'm Beth Galvin.
Beth, thank you. And I want to give you one more great resource, a fantastic resource. They can help you figure out which plan you need, and they help with a number of other senior issues as well. It's the Area Agency on Aging. And just call this number here at the bottom of your screen, 1-800-252-9240, and they will tell you how to get in touch with the local Area Agency on Aging. They're big help. And if you have a social media okay, let's start over. If you are a social media influencer or you dream of becoming one, it can actually be a very lucrative profession. And now you can actually get a degree in it. A university in Ireland is offering the country's first degree in social media influencing. Applications open next month at Southeast Technical College in Carlow. They'll cover topics like business skills, video and audio editing, critical cultural studies, and creative writing. The first students start classes next fall. And I know how much all of you love your Chick-fil-A, right? Well, now the restaurant chain wants to help send you to college. They are giving out scholarships. For civic-minded Chick-fil-A workers, there is the Remarkable Future Scholarship. It's available every year, and it's worth up to $25,000. And for non-employees, another 12 scholarships will be doled out for the same amount of money. Chick-fil-A says that the scholarships help make education within reach. And if you are currently in college, or maybe you have a student that's enrolled and you might think that it's too late to get financial aid and scholarships for this current school year, but actually scholarships will always be available. And we talked with an expert on ways that you can prepare for some of those upcoming tuition bills.
You know, the most important thing you should be doing, besides working hard in school and finishing out the year well, is to actually be planning on how you're going to pay for college.
Jennifer Finetti with Scholarship Owl, which offers free and paid scholarship help, says college scholarships are still available.
A lot of students think this is a bad time of year to apply for scholarships. They're totally wrong. This is actually a great time of year to apply.
Not a big essay writer? Not a problem.
We also specialize in what we call creative or media scholarships for students that maybe don't love essays, but have a different side of them that they want to show off. So they can do social media post scholarships, video scholarships.
A summer job is a great way to earn and save money for college.
So if you can earn $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 this summer through work or scholarships or some combination, maybe you won't even need to take out that student loan.
Students can also take summer school to earn credits at lower costs at community colleges.
Or you can simply build up your GPA by taking an additional college course
to improve their odds at qualifying for merit-based aid.
Heather Sullivan, Fox News.
And you will find links to the FAFSA form and scholarships on Sullivan Smart Sense on Fox26Houston.com. And remember that FAFSA applications open later this year. They open in December due to a number of changes on the form. And fees for applying to multiple colleges can really add up fast, but there are some ways to cut college application costs down. So take a look at this. First, of course, narrow down that list of schools. That's the easiest way. But also you can request a fee waiver. You may be able to get one if you have financial need, you have provided community or military service, maybe you've worked with AmeriCorps, the Peace Corps, or Teach for America, or if you're already recognized by the National Honor Society or a scholarship fund. You can also seek a fee waiver through a common application. Many schools now accept common applications. They let students apply to multiple schools with just one application. They're known as the common application. You've got coalition application, common black college application, and Apply Texas. And if you meet the criteria for a fee waiver, you just check the box on the form. And most states also offer free application periods to state schools. Usually it's in September or October. And you can apply to colleges with no application fees. You've got Baylor, Texas Wesleyan, and UT El Paso and Rio Grande. Those are just some of those that have no application fee. Maybe your little student is a little bit younger and is going to head off to college in several years. Well, 529 plans are really underutilized to help save up for all kinds of education. So Fox's Steve Noviello breaks down the pros and cons of 529s and prepaid tuition plans.
The name comes from the tax code, section 529. What the plans do is allow you to set aside savings to be used later on for educational expenses. There are a couple of things at play here. First, compound interest. The earlier you get started, the more your money can potentially grow. There's also a tax advantage here. The contributions grow on a tax-deferred basis and can be withdrawn tax-free if the money is used to pay for qualifying educational expenses. There are some pitfalls, though. For example, whether or not having significant savings set aside could reduce your child's eligibility for need-based aid, and there are some fees associated. And remember, this is an investment, so what if the stock market tanks the year before your kid needs to go to college? Plans vary by state. They will be subject to maximum contributions, and you should be ready to be very diligent with your record keeping when it comes time to withdraw your money. The number one question, though, that I get from viewers is, what if my kid decides not to go to college? What happens to all of this cash? This is not like a medical spending plan where you have to spend it before the end of the year or you lose the money. There's no scenario in which that happens. What will happen is you'll be subject to penalty for withdrawing the money for other reasons. You'll also be subject to interest on the earnings that you have. But the assets in your 529 are actually pretty flexible. They can be used for things like primary education. If you're sending your kid to, maybe a private grammar school, you can use it for tuition. You can use it to buy a laptop. For internet access, they can be used for certificate programs, 2-year degrees, postgraduate work. So there's a whole lot of flexibility here in terms of spending the money. If you absolutely do not, you can also even change the beneficiary so that somebody else can spend the money. There's a difference here between a 529 and a prepaid tuition plan. 529 is I'm setting this money aside and I'm going to use it at a later date. Prepaid tuition is paying for college tomorrow at today's rate. What you're doing, especially in a state like Texas or Florida or a handful of other ones, is you are committing to purchasing credit hours at today's money, setting them aside, and then when you send your kid to school later on, you've already prepaid for their college tuition. There's a lot to unpack here, so we take a deeper dive. You can join me right now, facebook.com/SaveMeSteve, where we talk with the CEO of Virginia 529 about these college savings plans.
Great information. All right, let's have some fun now, because despite high inflation, the National Retail Federation says families are spending a record amount on Halloween this year. Are you included in that? Last year we spent $10.6 billion on Halloween, and that was up 5% from the year before. So here are some ways to make your Halloween spending a little less scary.
Inflation doesn't seem to be scaring families away from Halloween spending.
With certain things it is, but activities like this, we've always decided that, this is worth our investment because, the experiences that our kids are going to take with them.
Yeah, trying to just keep it simple for the kids and everything. Deal with all that behind closed doors.
Farmers say drought took a toll on this year's pumpkin crop.
It's definitely impacted us a little bit. We typically get 3 shipments of pumpkins every year, but this year we were only able to get 2.
But Old McDonald's Farm still gives each child a free pumpkin with admission. One of the best ways to take the fright out of Halloween costs is to swap costumes with other parents or make your own from your own closet or thrift stores.
I know, for instance, that there was a big uptick in Stranger Things costumes as far as searches go online. And with that, it's go to the thrift store, try to find something that looks like it's from the 80s.
You can save big on Halloween decor at dollar, discount, and thrift stores.
Look at places like Target. Target has both indoor and outdoor decorations starting for around $5.
When it comes to candy, the trick is to look for coupons and buy treats in bulk at wholesale clubs like Costco or Sam's Club. And check out dollar stores for cheaper alternatives, such as stickers or Halloween trinkets. But while inflation is making prices for just about everything scary this year, parents say they won't be spooked out of a fun Halloween.
You gotta get one. Decide this one or this one. Okay.
And you can also, by the way, look for free events in newspapers and event guides. And did you know that Michael's stores host free Halloween events? And Target has this great free printable Halloween activity booklet that you can download right off of their site. All right, find more ways to save always on Sullivan's Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. And the show is for you. If you have a money topic you want us to cover, a question, just drop me a line on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I'm all at Heather Sullivan, Fox 26. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Dollars and Cents.